to my November wrap-up. Unfortunately, I didn't get to read as much as I would want this month in comparison to last month. This is not a lot, but it's still books, and I'm not trying to like compare because, you know, it's all different. Sometimes you're in the mood to read, sometimes you have a lot on your plate. I've worked a lot this month. I've worked a lot of overtime, so I think that's why I've just been too tired. But I have a couple of books here and I'm excited to talk to you guys about them, so let's go. The first book I read this month was New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. So I'm doing my reread of Twilight like I do every year, usually in the fall. Now it's November, so I think it's gonna drag out a while because I have a few books left. But I finished the second book, and if I would have to choose, the second book is probably my least favorite. Like, I love this entire series. It means a lot to me. Obviously, I do a reread of this series every year. It has my heart. Like, I love Twilight. It what got me into reading when I was younger, so it's always gonna have a special place in my heart. But if I were to have to choose, this was my least favorite, or this is my least favorite. So took a little while to get through, and also I'm not prioritizing it. I am just reading it on the side kind of, but still it was a fun read and I'm excited to have read it again, and also love the cover. Got it off of Etsy. I can link the shop below if you're interested. But yeah, I probably my least favorite with what's happening. This entire book is Bella just breaking down because Edward leaves her, and it's just, it is what it is. But I read it and I'm glad I did. So next book I read was also a reread, and that is A House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. This was a reread. I loved it the first time around. I decided to read it again because it has all those spooky creepy vibes that you want in the autumn, and I loved it just as much this time. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, which is honestly why I loved it, because I read the 12 Dancing Princesses not too long ago, like maybe like 2 years for the first time. 2 years ago for the first time, and I fell in love. It was something mystical and magical about it that I loved, and also had these spooky creepy vibes. So all I wanted was to read retellings of that story, and this was such a good one. And I have a reading vlog on it, both the first time I read it and this second time around, I think. And like, I cried almost because it's so scary, and this is like a YA fantasy retelling, so it's not actually scary, I think, but you all have like different things you think are scary, you know. Some might be clowns like in it, and this just has the ghost element, which I think is so creepy. It gives me the chills. Like, I almost cried because it was so creepy. So yeah, we basically follow this family that are kind of royalty on this like island, and they were originally 12 sisters, but as you start off the book, a few have already died, and more keep dying, and it's just really odd. And people don't really think it's odd, except this one girl, the one sister, I can't remember her name, Annabeth? No, I'm not really sure. But she thinks something is up, and she's determined to find out what is going on. And it's just really good. It has the 12 Dancing Princesses, the magic of it, but it's twisted around in creepiness and ghosts, and the atmosphere of the island is just very dark and creepy, and I just loved it. It's perfect for the autumn time or winter. So if you, like me, also really enjoyed 12 Dancing Princesses and you want kind of a twist at it and a ghost story kind of, this is definitely for you. I really love this book. The next book I read was Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So I went into this really having kind of high expectations because a lot of people said this was Stephen King's best work, and even though I did really enjoy it, I thought it was maybe a little bit too dark for me. I didn't think I was gonna say that, but I think it may have been a little bit too dark. I can take dark stuff, but this was just so dark that after I closed this book, I was in a state of like, what do I do now? I just really needed to read something light or watch something light after this. But basically we follow a family who moves into this new house kind of on the countryside. They are coming from the city, moving into the countryside, and you have the family is 2 kids and the mother and the father, and where they move in, they have this neighbor that they befriend, and he tells them about the pet cemetery that is just up on the street, and that is a very famous pet cemetery. People have been burying their pets there for ages, and you don't really think anything of it until weird things starts to happening with the pet cemetery. So the father of the family is a doctor, and weird things happens when he is working. He has a patient dying, and it's just really weird what's going on. And they soon, or the father rather, soon finds out what is really going on with the pet cemetery, and it's just really dark. I don't want to tell you guys too much, but this book talks a lot about death, both in pets and in humans. So just be aware of that. It's very dark. There was one thing happening where I almost couldn't take it. I was just like, should I DNF it? No, I'm gonna continue it just to see where it goes. But it was just really dark. I can see why a lot of people love this. Like I liked it, and I can see why a lot of people enjoyed it, because it's really a great story and a good book, but it was just so dark. So if you're wanting to read it, just be aware of that. You have to be in the right mindset, I think. But yeah, it was really good overall. I enjoyed it. It was just really dark. I've said that a million times, but it was just, I'm just warning you. The next book I read, I think I had too high expectations on, and that was The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. So this has been on my TBR for ages. I've seen it all over YouTube, so I think I went into this with too high expectations. I did enjoy it, I did, but it was nothing too special in my opinion, and I can see why people love it if they are into slasher movies, because the girls in here are kind of referencing to famous girls in slasher movies, but I have never seen, or I'm not that into those movies. I haven't seen a lot of the classic slasher movies, but if you have, I can really see why this would be really interesting to you. But we basically follow this support group where a group of girls or women come together that have survived something like a massacre or something. So they have survived this thing, and now they come together to talk about it in group session every Sunday, I believe it is. And someone are after these final girls, and it's just it was kind of all there was these women being really paranoid and being stalked and just fearing for their life as they are being chased. So if you like that, you will love this, but I think I just kind of wanted more. I didn't think it was really anything special, but also, as I've said, I think that's also because I haven't watched a lot of movies like that, and if you enjoy movies like that, you will definitely enjoy this book. So overall, I really like Grady Hendrix, and it was a good book, just maybe not for me. The next book I read was Salems Lot by Stephen King. So to be honest, I don't know what was going on in this book. I was very tired of it towards the end, so I want to say, like, I think I just kind of skimmed. No, I read it, but I was kind of just like over it and didn't really take in what's happening in the end. But here we have like this small little town called Salems Lot, and in Salems Lot you have like this house that's kind of old. People think it's haunted, people think it's scary, and it's been abandoned for ages until a guy moves in there and things starts to happening. And you also follow this author that is coming back to Salems Lot to write a new novel because he's kind of a famous author, and weird things are happening. You have people getting sick. They can't explain what the sickness is, but they are pale all of a sudden. They can't eat ordinary food. They sleep all day and wake up at night. They have like bite marks here, and you know, we all know what that means. And I love the fact that it was vampires because I love that, obviously, but I think it was just too long. It was too much. Towards the end, I didn't really care for it anymore, unfortunately. It was not one of my favorite Stephen King's books, and it just really sucks. But overall, it was okay. Like, I didn't hate it. It was just too much at times, I think. The last book I read this month was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this was such an amazing surprise. I don't know what expectations I had, but I ended up loving it. I wasn't expecting it to love it as much as I did. We follow Monique, who works at a magazine in New York City. She's really, you know, fighting for her career. She really wants to be a successful businesswoman in that business, in that line of work, and she gets the opportunity to interview Evelyn Hugo, who is like a really big movie star, or was back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and has now grown old, and no one has like ever gone to interview her except now. And she specifically asks for Monique, and you don't find out why she wants her because they don't have a connection, what you know as a reader. But she wants Monique, or she doesn't want to do an interview. So that's kind of, you wonder why she wants Monique. It has to be some sort of reason. And when Monique gets to Evelyn, she finds out that Evelyn has other plans for this interview, and you get to basically hear her entire life story and all of her marriages and how it was back in the movie industry back then, and you can imagine how it was. Also, it talks about such an important topic, or more important topics, more than one, and I feel like you just get to learn so much about life hearing her story, and it was truly inspirational, truly beautiful. I will probably never stop talking about this book. I was so amazingly surprised. The ending was really sad in my opinion. I didn't expect to feel that. I feel like you got to experience her entire life, and that was so beautiful. She had a lot of shit going on in her life, but also a lot of beautiful things going on. and it was just really interesting to see how it was back then with a lot of things that are still today taboo, but it was just so interesting. And I kept thinking that, like, I had a friend who would love this, but she's not a reader. So if this ever is adapted into a movie or a TV show, I will force her to watch it because she would just love this. I'm so sad she doesn't read, or else I would probably buy this for her for Christmas or her birthday or something, because she would love it. I just know it. You know, when you have a book you read and you were like, she would love that, but that person is not a reader, what do you do? But I loved it so much. Wow, just please read this if you haven't. I know I'm probably late to the party because this has been out for a while. People have been talking about it for ages and I just read it, but it was truly amazing. But yeah, that was it for my November wrap up. Not as many books as I would want to, but I have been working quite a lot this month, so that's probably why I'm not surprised. That's life. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in one of my next videos. Bye.